Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Love All podcast. This is our 25th podcast, actually. So I feel like it is kind of a little bit of a special date, right? I'm about 6 years away from that in our marriage. So it sounds like a big deal so far. So I'm excited to, for number 25 today.
Kim, did you send me an anniversary gift?
What, are you already 25?
Can I be your work wife?
Yes.
Okay,
It's coming. It's coming.
Okay, great.
My logistics have been a little off with all my travel schedule, but I'll meet you in New York.
Okay, sounds good. We'll have a romantic dinner together. I did actually send something to your house, though. So your kids, when you get home, will have a little surprise courtesy of our Rec Room segment. So get excited, Kim. Only one more week till you get to be home.
It's like Christmas now.
That's right. Don't get too excited. But it's great to see you, Kim. Obviously, so much happening in the tennis world. DC finally in the rear view. We've got Canada this week. There has been a lot of rain over the past several days. DC having their Monday final. Poor Canada getting off to a tough start, specifically in Montreal. And it made me wonder, Kim, how did you handle rain delays? If you had, so whether it was you hadn't gotten on the court yet, or say you had played a set like the women's final in DC, and then you had to wait overnight, come back and play, were you a good rain delayer?
Yeah, I think I was. I think when the match was going on, it all depends on the score line, right? Like I remember there was this match that I played against Maria Sharapova in, I think it was 2010 maybe, Cincinnati. And I was down 3 set points. And on the last one, this big cloud, like dark cloud comes over the court and it just starts pouring rain. I'm a set and 3 match points down and it just starts pouring rain. And so we have to like sprint in, like it just all of a sudden started pouring rain. And then I just remember like I felt like I was really into the match when it came down to the baseline play, but then my serve just wasn't, Maria was on my serve every time, and just really I felt like under pressure. And yeah, I don't know. I think that rain gave me a sort of it's not that I changed anything in my mind tactically. I just felt like, hey, maybe this can go my way. Maybe there's some energy that's changing. And I just kind of went with that. And it just really helped me to believe in my chances, and came out and ended up winning that set 7-6 and winning 6-2 in the third. So I felt like definitely the weather was on my side. So there's not much you can do. You just have to try to stay relaxed. And then before you go out, like it's sometimes hard to plan, but before you go out on the hard court, it's kind of nice because from the moment that you feel like they're starting to dry the courts, you have about 20-30 minutes, right? You can start going to the gym, you can start doing your runs and your exercises, whatever you have to do, so that from the moment that you step out on court, like you have to be ready to go because you don't have any points to give away.
Not to get too far down rabbit hole before we've even started with the body of the podcast, but my follow-up on that is, how much coaching did you get during a rain delay? Because I was thinking of this watching the DC final, which we'll talk more about later, where Jess won the first set and then Alex came out really firing in the second. And it made me wonder, how much is she actually talking about what happened and what she needs to do?
I think everybody's different in that sense. To me, it was more of a conversation, right? It's going back and forth. It's you have an open conversation. That's what it felt like to me. Just have an open conversation about what I was feeling. Like I said, like I felt like my serve wasn't really causing the damage that I wanted to. And if I remember correctly, I think against Maria, the serve that I always liked to use was the body serve. So I think I just tried to maybe simplify it a little bit more in the third set and just use that serve a little bit more, just to kind of put her off, maybe out of balance a little bit with some good body serves. But in general, like I think, it was more about communicating and just being physically ready as well, with the trainer more than anything, to just be ready to go and be super fired up in your head, to be like very aggressive from the start.
All right, Kim. Well, I loved getting that insight to start things off. That was bonus insight in my mind. But today, coming up, we have the full Vondrousova anti-doping decision, the first WTA champion born in the 2010s. Cue the violins for all of us who are just getting old. And Kim is also going to look back on her favorite memories of winning in Canada, playing in Canada, and get you all in the mood for some Canadian tennis this week. All right, Kim, as I mentioned, we've got the full Markéta Vondroušová anti-doping decision from the ITIA, and it was not great, Kim.
No, it wasn't.
It was not great. We knew that it was likely not looking good for Markéta Vondroušová, who has the chance to appeal this decision. There's a deadline on August 11th where she has to decide to appeal to CAS to try to get her 4-year suspension as it stands reduced. But based on what we read in this decision, I mean, I would not say that it's looking great for her. I sent you, Kim, a little snippet when the decision first came out. But I think the biggest takeaways, I'm curious if you agree, was that neither she nor her agent knew that players could be tested outside their designated whereabouts window. And also the report revealed sort of surprisingly cavalier texts while this anti-doping officer was at her door as she was deciding whether or not she was actually going to participate in this text, that indicated that she did not feel maybe in danger, as she said was potentially the case. That was part of her defense, and also indicated that she knew that she was talking to someone from anti-doping. And we know this from one specific text she sent to her boyfriend where she said, it's some bleep from the doping. So she appeared to, in fact, know that she was speaking to a DCO who, by the way, we also found out in the report, Kim, was an 11-year veteran. This is not her first rodeo. They said she did like 15 tests a day. She trains new doping officers. So just a tough look.
It is, but I still, to this day, you know, when you talk and what you hear about it on tour is that almost nobody knew about that this rule was in place. And to me, that's where I feel like, you know, maybe the ITIA is in fault a little bit there as well for the players not knowing who is in fault. Is it ITF? Is it WTA? Is it ATP? Is it the local federations that need to be a little bit more involved so that the players actually know that this wasn't something that was illegal? And I still think, you know, I don't think it was about not wanting to do the thing. I think it just felt more like this isn't right. Like, you shouldn't be here. Like, my time slot is, you know, whatever it was, 6 to 7 or 5 to 6 in the morning. Like, and this is when you're supposed to show up. So, you know, I think at some point they talked about like a teachable moment for all the players and their teams. But then I'm like, okay, but let it also be a teachable moment for the ITIA and say, okay, we need to maybe communicate better to the players and to the staff and to everybody around it. And it's, you know, I mean, going back to maybe Maria's case back in the day, right? Like, she was taking a supplement for her, whatever it was, asthma at the time. And then it from 1 month to the other ended up being on the anti-doping list. And it wasn't in November. And then when she started playing in January, it was on the doping list. And so if you're not informed, you know, and it's very easy when these rules change because you don't really stay involved in that kind of stuff, right? So I think I think it would be very, very sad if she will miss, or if she's going to be used as an example, or that her career is going to be used as an example, or her situation. And it will have such a huge impact on her career, because what is that then? 2030 that she will be?
June 2030, she will be almost 31 years old. And that is a long time.
It's insane. And just try to think about, like, okay, for 4 years, like, what are you going to do? Like, I mean, you practicing for 4 years just to wait, you know, to keep yourself motivated. And that's almost impossible, because as, you know, a top player, that's what you crave is the matches, is the competitiveness, right? So it's a very tough thing to think about and to try to balance. And so I'm kind of hoping still that there may be a little bit of a reduction somewhat, because I really don't think she deserves the full 4 years.
Yeah, to your point about the communication and it also being a teachable moment for the ITIA sent out, I think it was like a 3-page explainer about this case to players, their teams, I assume anyone who is involved in this space, to explain exactly why the decision was the way that it was, to explain exactly what the rules are. But I mean, great point. Is that too little too late? But also you think, I was looking up who Markéta Vondroušova's agency was. She's with Octagon. That is not some boutique hole-in-the-wall agency that is representing one tennis player. This is an experienced agency. And I think back, I thought it was so apt for you to mention the Sharapova case, because Max Eisenbud, one of the most successful and well-known agents, certainly tennis agents probably in the world, he actually took the blame for that, for not looking at that list of medications or substances that were added to the banned list. So I think it's a question too for players, like how much faith are you putting in the agents? And I know some amazing agents. This isn't a shot at agents by any means, but I think that's a question you have to ask yourself too.
Right, but maybe there needs to be somewhat of a, I don't know, a prevention kind of date, or let's say during the US Open. I know a lot of players don't want to go into another meeting room and they don't want to, but at least have some informative kind of, hey, these are the rules that are going to be changing, or this is what's being added, or yeah, I mean, I'm very surprised about the lack of knowledge from the players and the teams about, I mean, I didn't know. And it's not that I'm still that involved in it, but even like most of the current players didn't know. So it's, yeah, there's lack of communication somewhere. And I think that needs to be looked at even more, because otherwise we're going to keep having situations like this, and maybe not exactly the same, but we're going to have more players that are still filling out their time slots and being home, being aware of the time slots and still messing up. So I think there can be things can be done better on both sides, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely have to take initiative. And the ITIA, again, I think they have done a good job. Like, we know they have reached out to us. They have reached out to players. I know a couple years ago at the Australian Open, they did have an open meeting for anyone who wanted to come at the Australian Open. I know that our friend Chris Eubanks was there. And if I remember correctly, he might have been the only active player. So I do think this will be a wake-up call. And I think, I feel terrible for Markéta Vondroušová, but on the flip side, I hope that everybody else will be paying attention. Kim, we've got more US Open mixed doubles entries, and they just get weirder.
There's some really good ones though too.
There's some, and by weird, I mean good. I like weird, to be clear. I am going to read to you the new entrants. We've got Venus Williams and Alexander Bublik, Karolina Muchova and Jakub Menšík, Jelena Ostapenko and Marcelo Arevalo, Wimbledon champions, right? Alina Svitolina and Gael Monfils, Katie Boulter and Alex de Minaur, Gabby Dabrowski and Harry Heliovara, Maria Sakkari and Karen Khachanov, who, by the way, were left off the initial entry list announcement. Kim, did you see that? And they did not like it. They were in the comments saying, I guess we weren't cool enough to be included. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that.
Well, they saved them for the second wave. And then we've got Emma Navarro and Tommy Paul, who have played together in tiebreak tens, I believe, Tatiana Maria and Valentin Vachereau, and Anna Kalinskaya, Lorenzo Musetti, Reese Brentmeyer, and Michael Zhang, a couple of college tennis goats there. And then we've got Demi Shores and Julian Cash, and Katie McNally and Robert Cash. What sticks out to you here?
To me, the two doubles teams. Ostapenko is not just a doubles player, but Elena Ostapenko and Marcelo Arevalo, I think are going to be very, very tough to beat. And then also I have Gabriela Dabrowski and Harry Hiliovara. I think there's a couple there that I think are going to be very, very hard to beat. And you may think like, oh, there's some singles players that are better tennis players, but the way that the game of doubles is being played, it's just so much more tactical that I feel like a lot of the men's players don't take on the same men's mixed double role as the doubles players do. And there's a huge difference when it comes to that. So I've played, like when I played at Wimbledon and I played mixed doubles, and then playing with like an actual doubles player, or like I've played with Malise, I've played with Oliver Rockers, I've played with Leighton. Like there's a big difference when you play with a mixed doubles player who is crossing a lot and who will try to take, the ball away from you as much as they can, or take their role, make it have more of an impact. And I feel like with some of the male singles players, they're just a little bit more patient and they just wait. They don't cross as much. They don't, have the tactical game. And so it's fun to play with a doubles player.
Did I forget Tatiana Maria and Valentin Vachereau? Did I say them?
Yeah, you did.
That was one of the weirder ones to me.
Yeah, like, definitely. Wait, what? Yeah.
But good for them. Also, that makes me think that Vachereau will be back for the U.S. Open. He's been out and injured. Did you see also, Kim, where Kei Nishikori was interviewed in D.C. about playing doubles with Osaka, and he said he's stressed out because her outfits will be so good?
Yeah, maybe. Do they have the same sponsor? No, I don't think so. But
no,
maybe they could match up somehow.
I would die if Kei Nishikori walked out with like sparkly flowers in his hair, or I mean, the possibilities are endless. Like bedazzle his Uniglow collar. I don't know. There's so many options, Kim.
Yeah, I think she'll keep the outfit for like her singles match, probably, right? Like maybe not yet for the first week of doubles. I even think last year she was in like a t-shirt, a practice. I remember there was something about some of the players not showing up in proper match like gear.
She's done jerseys. She's worn
jersey
basketball jerseys before. They should both have Labubus though. Like that is a sure thing.
Yes, that would be. Yeah,
guys, this is such a marketing opportunity. Hire me. I will get something in line for you guys, because that would be such a fun moment. I think, the Japanese fans would go absolutely bananas. But suffice it to say, we are looking forward to the mixed doubles, and I don't think it's a crazy prediction, Kim, to think that we are going to have another double specialist team holding the trophy.
No, of course not.
Right?
I think, I definitely think, especially with some of the pairs that are in here that we see now, I think, I'm very excited. Last year it was Irani and
Vavasori.
Vavasori who won it. And so I think, they're definitely up there as, great chance to win it again. And then the doubles players that I mentioned before, I think it's definitely going to go to another doubles players pairing.
Yeah. And just a reminder, it is a 16-team draw. There are 8 wild cards. There are 6 teams that get in off of their combined singles ranking, and then 2 teams that can qualify in the qualifying tournament, which is happening on Monday of Fan Week. So
Blair,
all the things.
Let me ask you this. How would you play with your spouse?
Kim, I don't even know if we want to go there. No, not well. Not well. How would you
just
play with your
like
spouse?
Svitolina and Monfils, Blair. Svitolina, Monfils, and Katie Boulter just married, right? And just Alex Dimuner. So that'll all still be fun. And
they're in the safe zone, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
What is the safe zone for married mixed doubles? Are we saying like between just married and 6 years?
I don't.
And then you get out of the safe zone.
I'm glad Brian and I have different sports.
Woo, I'm sweating. Yeah. Okay. I can't wait to see. But yes, I would not. It would not go particularly well. Moving on, Kim, to another topic that I am so excited to discuss with you. Do you know what a dump is, Kim?
Blair, what kind of questions?
like a photo dump. Kim's mind is in the gutter.
I know what a photo dump is. Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Well, Carlos Alcaraz had quite a July dump, if you will, and we will. And with every successive photo, I got more and more excited. I had more and more questions. There were more and more things to look at. What stuck out to you?
Well, what everybody's been talking about, I think, is the hairstyle. For a while, I was like, man, he's really letting his hair grow out now. Like, and you know, because he used to, I think he had a little bit of the fade, like back last year at the U.S. Open, I think, and it just started growing longer and longer over the last few weeks, and then now we know why. Like he put the braids in, and yeah, I mean, listen, he's enjoying his time off, like away from the sport. He's obviously practicing, but to be home and to be able to go away and enjoy being a young kid, young man, is great to see. And just happy to hear that he's hitting and that his wrist is better. And I think that's been obviously what we've all been kind of looking forward to, is getting a little bit of news and a little bit of an update of how, how the wrist is doing. And so I'm excited to see that. I went through a little bit of a similar situation around the same age, I would think. And so it's a frustrating injury. And I remember like when I came out of the cast, like I had surgery as well. And I don't know, did you have surgery?
I don't believe so.
No. So I ended up having surgery. I waited for a while and it just didn't get better. So I ended up having surgery, and I had the tendon and the sheet around the tendon was kind of loose and it wasn't protecting the tendon anymore. Mm-hmm. And because of the incline, like the pinch in my backhand every time here. So they shaved the I think it's called the ulna, the bone here. Mm-hmm. They shaved it down so that my hand bone here and the bone in my forearm wouldn't like hit each other every time that I was hitting my backhand, and would cause me inflammation and irritation. So it took a while, and when your wrist comes out of a little bit like my calf, like when you come out of the cast or the booth, it looks like it was like 1/3 of my right wrist, and then I'm like worried about like I couldn't move it, like I could only do kind of like this. And then you worry about like, how can I ever hit a proper backhand again? And then just putting in the time, and and I've never had an issue with it since. So it's been really good.
Wow, that's amazing. And you're talking about the actual sheath that holds your tendon in place was struggling.
Yes.
His diagnosis, again, from what we know, is wrist tenosynovitis, which is an inflammation of that area. So it's not so much saying that something is torn or out of place or the tendon is moving. It's just that there's inflammation, which is causing pain. And to play at the level that he plays, you better be pain-free in that area. And I believe, his right wrist, right?
Is it his right? I'm not sure if it's his right wrist. So I don't know.
Maybe Eala can. I believe.
Right
Can you confirm, Eala? Yeah, I believe it's the dominant hand for him. But that's so interesting to hear, because I think so much of it is the confidence factor, right? Did you see any of his practice videos? So not the ones that he posted, but the other ones that have been posted online?
No, I have not. No.
I'm curious to have you watch those and let me know if you think he looks like he's playing at 100%. Okay. Do you think it's possible for him to pop up in Cincy and be at 100%?
I think I mean, I would hope he is. Like, I would hope that he's in practice has been at 100%. Like, I think it would be not the smartest choice to make to try and see if I'm at 100% when you get to the tournament. Like, I hope that, the way that I built up my schedule was, okay, I'm starting with, the softest tennis ball, the sponge ones in the beginning, smaller racket, just to get a little bit of movement and kind of get that, that racket like flowing again. And then you gradually, do that for a few days. And then you take, go with the heavier ball and you take a couple steps back and then you go to your normal racket. So there's a buildup that, my team really kind of worked out and we had a very, good plan. And let me tell you, my slice was better than ever. Like, I was hitting your kind of backhands, the one-handers. Like, I was, like my slice on my one-handed backhand got for months. Like, that's all I could do. And they kind of got good at it. So
Silver lining, Kim. You
But
can
I still
always
don't want
find
to do
one.
a backhand cross-court rally against you, though.
Gosh. Anytime, though, just for fun,
Yes.
I would do it.
We should do a morning workout or something at the US Open. Get out on the courts.
Sign me up.
All right, let's do that.
Well, Kim, in We Are Ancient news, 16-year-old qualifier Kristina Liutova became the first player born in the 2010s to win a WTA title, doing so in her first WTA tour level tournament, taking out players like Alexandrova, who ended up having to retire in a third set due to extreme heat conditions, but still incredibly tough match. Joint McNally beat Vidmanova in the final. Listen to this. Began 2026 ranked 714, entered Memphis at number 229, and is now, as the Memphis champion, ranked 126 in the world. Pretty cool.
Very cool story. This is these don't happen often, so it's really nice to see such a youngster come up and do well and play freely and still be in that kind of first moment of your career where you feel like every match you play, you're the underdog, you have nothing to lose, and play freely. And, because that only happens for about, let's say, a year from now on. Then,
right.
And then, everybody will start to know her and get used to seeing her play and know what her strengths and weaknesses are. But yeah, it's really nice to see. She's beaten some really good players and some great experiences that she's built up in the tournament to just take with her. And I remember, like, when I was younger, just to be able to, like, first, beat, a first top 50 player, top 20 player, like, it just, you learn so much from that moment. And just by, I think in your head, you always make everybody, like, on TV, it looks so much better and you don't think you're there yet. And then when you're actually playing against them and you feel like they're, you can rally with them and your strength is maybe almost as strong as theirs. And so it's a huge confidence booster to be able to experience that in real life and in a match, not just in practice. And so, big lessons learned and something that she will take with her to the next tournament.
Yeah, interesting. Russian-born, but moved here in 2020, trains in Redmond, Washington State, not a hub that I was familiar with, and went to the US Open in 2022, got to see her idols, Serena and Rafa, and that cemented her desire to become a professional tennis player. And I don't know what the immigration status is or exactly how that works, but I believe she's working to become a U.S. citizen. So potentially see her playing under the American flag in the future, which would be pretty cool.
I can speak out of experience. It's not an easy situation, and it will take a little while. So we'll see when she and if she will be able to play under the American flag.
Yeah, well, good for her. Exciting to see a young, fresh, smiley face. Well, in DC, Kim, they finished the final a day late thanks to the rain, but the matchup itself, I think, definitely lived up to the hype. So 21-year-old Alex Eala got her first WTA Tour title, taking out Jess Pegula 4-6, 6-4, 6-0, and earning herself a place in the top 20. And we're going to talk about Alex in just a minute, but just first a note on Jess. I was reading through some of the transcripts from the beginning of the week in DC, and she was saying how she did not even plan to play. She decided at the last minute to go play in DC, a tournament that she's won in the past, because as we know, thanks to some dumps on Instagram, she was at multiple weddings in the month of July post Wimbledon. And she was also, I don't exactly know where she was, but I know she was shooting some, doing some sponsor obligations as well, and just decided to give it a go and ends up making a run to the final. I was curious if you had ever had an experience like that. And as much as you don't like to hand someone a bagel in the third set of a final, does she look at this tournament as a positive?
Yeah, I think she does. I think she will definitely, especially with knowing, with what you just said, knowing that she maybe didn't have the ideal preparation. And because a lot of times as a player, you still connect the two to each other, right? Like you want a good preparation, you want to win a few matches and before you get to a tournament and knowing that she was able to leave the tournament still with a good feeling. She beat some good players. And I think that's at the end of the day what you come up with and what you leave with. And definitely had a couple of moments that I can recall where I feel like it's not that I had time off, but I felt like my preparation wasn't going the way that it was planned. And my second time defending my title. So in 2010, when I was preparing for the US Open, I was training in New Jersey. We were still living in Belgium back then. And so I was kind of visiting, the in-laws, and I would do a lot of my training at the Atlantic Club in New Jersey where I live. And my trainer wasn't there yet, but he gave me the schedule. So Wim, my coach at the time, would do a lot of the fitness things with me. And they were so hard that like my tennis practices were so bad. Like I had no feeling. Like Sam wanted me to train in the morning before practice. So I was hitting, and I just felt like my timing was off. My shoulder was tired, and Sam. So Wim got kind of like a little bit frustrated because he couldn't do his job right. Like so he would call Sam, who was in Belgium, and I was frustrated, and because I wanted to have good practices leading up to the US Open, and Sam had it all calculated out. He's like, listen, it's going to take 10 to 12 days after she's done with the strength training before she will feel like normal. So he had it all calculated. And I was like, how do you know this? Like, I don't believe this is going to happen. Like, he's like, trust me, it's going to happen. And then, of course, like a few days before the US Open started, like I started to feel really, really good and almost, felt unbeatable at times. And so it just shows like, and then when I won the Australian Open, just in practice, I lost on the Sunday before the tournament started, I lost a practice set to Sabine Lisicki, 6-love. Seriously, 6-love. So I was like cursing. I'm like, didn't want to talk to anybody in the team. I'm like, how am I, I couldn't even hold serve. Like, and just went into the locker room angry, frustrated. Like, I remember being in the shower and just being like, what is going on? Like, you have to play tomorrow. Get your shit together. Like, and then you start playing, and then, you work your way into the tournament, and it all kind of fell into place. So a lot of times, I think we rely too much on thinking that it all has to go perfect for you to do well in the tournament.
Per usual, we're getting lessons in tennis and in life from Kim Clijsters today.
This may not work for everybody, but to me,
but so
maybe.
Often though, it's true. Like I think you can talk yourself in or out of so many things in your head, instead of just trusting the training. If you've put in the hard work consistently, I think sometimes you can trust the training maybe more than we tell ourselves we can.
For sure. And also trust what you did even weeks prior, that will have an effect, right? On the most important, like if you're focusing on a slam, like that's when it will come out. It's not literally the day before, 2 days before, or the warm up literally 2 hours before your match. Like it's the work that you've put in the preseason, and that's where you build that confidence. So again, those are all the things that you learn as you get older, and then that's the good part about not being a 16-year-old anymore.
That is true. There you go. All right, Kim, Alex Eala, en route to the title, beat Zhang Fernandez, who is the defending champion, Svitolina Osaka, and of course, Jess in the final. When you watch her, I mean, she's been on our radar now for a year and a half solidly, thinking back to that crazy breakout tournament she had in Miami in 2025. What do you see now that's even more impressive? What has been shored up even more at this point?
Well, when I look back or think back about the 2025, and I actually went back to, when I first started noticing her, like probably most of the tennis world, I think also physically her body looks a lot stronger than what she was back then. And of course, she's a woman now. Like I felt like she was still a young girl and when she came up. So I think that's where she's made a lot of strides as well, to be able to weaken and like the list of names that you named that she beat, like you have to be physically capable of counterpunching. Like there's a lot of hard hitters in there, a lot of long rallies that that always has to play, long matches. And so the body has to be ready to take on that demand. And to me, that's the first thing that stands out. What I think is in general for everybody else, even if you're not a tennis fan or you don't watch tennis often is her movement, right? She moves really, really well. What I like to look at is and I call it home base, like where she runs back to in between her shots. Like she doesn't wait when she gets pushed back, like she doesn't wait in the back of the court or in the middle of in the back of the court. She takes those steps forward and is always looking to cut the corners and to just take time away from her opponent, which is that combination is, there's a lot of players who move really well side to side, but they don't cut the corners when they have the chance. And to me, those two things stand out for me in her movement. And then I think her anticipation. I don't know. I don't think I noticed it as much as maybe this week, where especially in Osaka was to me the first time where I started noticing how well she's reading her opponent's serves. Osaka can really hide her serve direction very well, and she at times is standing like a foot into the court and still getting to the return on time and to the serve, like first serves, like good kick serves from Osaka. So that to me, I think, when it comes down to like a tactical difference that she made this week, or that she's made over the last few months, and that stood out for me this week, is her serve return positioning and the way that she's been able to attack first and second serve of good servers, and made it really tough. She's left-hander, so we know that that's always a little bit tricky for a lot of players. Placing her serve better. It's not the hardest serve, but she places it well. Good variety. So yeah, a lot of great things I feel like that she's been adding on to and that she's been improving over time. And a couple of things that stand out is obviously the physical part, is that she's stronger. She's still as fast. A lot of times you can be stronger, but maybe don't move as fast anymore. But she has both now. So, which means that out of the corners, when she has to move, she's still able to create a lot of pace.
It was so interesting to look at the stats for the final, because Eala won 84% of her first serve points. And it's been talked about that her serve is probably one of the weakest parts of her game. It made me wonder, and you talked about placing it, but I also wonder, how big is the lefty factor?
It is important. And some players can deal with it a little bit better than others. And to me, Jess is somebody who likes to hit a nice, clean, she doesn't take, big swings. She doesn't have a lot of adjustment in her strokes, in her technique. And so you have to at times make a little bit of an adjustment when you're playing against a lefty serve, where the ball, the effect is a little bit different. The rotation of the ball is different. So you have to make some adjustments here and there. So maybe not a surprise that, for Jess, this was maybe playing a lefty was maybe a little bit harder. But still, I do think, Eala is so good at she stands out with some of those other positives that the serve is being looked at as a negative. But I don't, I don't think it's that big of a weakness. It's maybe not as good as her movement or as her anticipation, but it's not that big of a weakness as a lot of people make it look like.
Mm-hmm. And just for comparison's sake, they both had Pegula and Eala around the same first serve percentage, 64 and 65, and Jess won just 57% of her first serve points. So just to give you a comparison point there.
But Eala was returning incredibly well this week. Just like reading it so well. And so I'm very curious to see if this is something that she's doing more often, or that she's just, or sometimes, like I think I mentioned it in our last week's episode, is there's places that you can go to and you feel so good, like where you see the ball well, where you just, I don't know, just a little bit sharper than in other places. And so I'm very curious to see if, when she goes to her next tournament, like, is this, is it going to be the same? Like, is she better playing at night or during the daylight, or, those kind of things are what I'm going to be very interested to look at. But very impressed by, the improvements that she's made, and how she was able to step up in the important moments throughout this whole week in DC.
Yep. So congratulations to Alex Eala and all of the Philippines.
Amazing. The
it's
stands,
unbelievable.
It's so, incredible. Fun to watch.
All right, Kim, I am going to move on to some opinions that players had this week. We love a good player opinion. The first was from Novak Djokovic. Now, this was an interview that he did during Fanatics Fest. And I know this, Kim, because he was wearing the same gray Lacoste sweatsuit that we have previously discussed on this here podcast. It was not released until just this week. And Novak was asked if he could change one thing in tennis, what would it be? And he said he thought it would be fun to have best of 5 sets to 4 games instead of 6, possibly no ad. And he said it would be great to keep matches under 2 hours, which my first reaction to that was, so the next gen finals, he wants to bring the next gen finals format to the ATP Tour. Also, of course, he is 39, and I'm sure he would love that.
Yes, that's where my first thought was going. Did you think like this 20 years ago?
Yeah, great question. But it does beg the question, do you buy into what people say about if tennis were shorter, people would be able to invest more in the players and also watching full matches?
I don't know. I think there's nothing greater than seeing a 4 or 5 hour match. And they don't happen every day, right? But like to have a few of them in a tournament, especially if you can have a Novak against Sinner or a Novak against Rafa against Roger, like those moments I feel stand out so much in the history of our sport. And it would be a shame if we don't have that. So I don't think I want to see that. But I get, especially from Novak's side. And I think, and I hear it a lot in the business world as well. There's a lot of people who talk about that, how, TV and it would make things a lot easier for a lot of kind of parties that are investing into the sport. But I think as a player but I'm also kind of old school. Like, I don't like to see a lot of changes to our sport. Like, I remember when the on-court coaching was happening, I was like, what are we doing? Like, why are we, like taking something that's good and changing it and causing more, I don't know. So again, I'm pretty old school like that, but I like seeing those, a couple of matches, a slam where it's like this super intense and a battle and, that's what you don't have in any other sport. So I absolutely love that we have that.
I'd be okay if we had best 3 out of 5. Again, this is obviously the a men's tennis discussion, but from the quarterfinals on. Because as much as it is great to have the battles late in the tournament, do I need to see a 2, 3, and 4 second round match? Not really. I'd be fine with just 2 and 3. I don't know. I get the tradition perspective. I get that there could be a random comeback from 2 sets to love down that could be one of the matches of the tournament, and you're never going to know if you only play 2 out of 3. But it is a conversation to be had. It's
something that I've always wondered about, like with the men. Like, how do they, adjust physically all the time to, do you train in your off season as if you're getting ready for a 5-set match that could last 4 or 5 hours? Or is that something that because you almost can't add that into your schedule during the season. So, I'm almost curious, like how they, how different their schedule is when it comes to preparations and having changes of length in your matches, right? Like it's something that we don't have to deal with, and but the guys do. So when you go from a Miami, Indian Wells, or you play Australia where you're playing 5 sets, and then the next big tournament is Indian Wells, Miami, and you play 3-setters, like it's that has to be mentally, tactically, like it's such a different game. So I'm just, maybe, I don't know, when we have a male player on or something, that's something we can ask. Our list of questions for Andy is piling up. We're gonna have a whole Q&A with Andy at some point. But Kim, I feel like you would have dominated best of 5. I don't know. I think I would have loved the challenge of it and see how I would have reacted. I would have loved that, I think.
Yeah, I think
not all the time. Not all the time.
Yeah, the scheduling is already a nightmare. That would only make it worse. But just for the record, I think you would have absolutely dominated. Not more so than you already did. So,
but I think now, or my mindset when I was playing was, I need to be ready to go like from the first point because I'm trying to win that first set. Like I try to get that advantage over my opponent. And whereas, I think when you have the chance to play 5 sets, like I think it just takes maybe the urgency away a little bit. I don't know. Maybe even more so. You don't want to play 4 sets if that would be my drive was to, I don't want to be out there for another set or 2 sets if I have to. So, yeah, I don't know, just very different. And I think something that intrigued me when I was playing back in the day is how do men kind of prepare for, mentally and physically to be ready for the different, like the length different of matches.
All right, our next player opinion of the week. I am actually just going to set it up this week, Kim, and we can talk about it next week because next week I will be in Cincinnati doing Media Day. And so I will have sort of the Media Day brain on, and I would love to hear more about your thoughts on media. In the meantime, I'm just going to throw this out there and you can ponder. Arena took to X very randomly out of nowhere to say, how about tournament media be changed? Top 10 players together for press conferences. F1 style, ? Fun, no? Thoughts? And so that, again, out of absolutely nowhere, I have no idea what brought this thought to her mind. But next week, Kim, I would love to get your thoughts on just media in general and what that whole experience was like for you.
I'm writing it down.
Okay, please do. I'm gonna give you a week to think about it, and then I'm sure I'll have Media Day stories for you all as well. But before we finish up today, we of course have Rec Room, but I also, Kim, would love to go down memory lane with you because in 2005 you were the champion in Toronto en route to your U.S. Open title, and I'm so interested to hear what you remember about that run, about the tournament itself. Let it fly.
To be honest, not too much. And just in preparing a little bit today's show, I started looking. I was like, what happened in 2005? What happened in 2005? So I looked back and I saw that I beat Justine in the final. I was like, So I actually started looking at my match, which I have never done. Like I never looked at that. And I was like, yeah, that was not bad. Like pretty good tennis. And to me, there's one moment that really stands out to me when it comes to Canada. And I think I became number 1 in LA for the first time in 2004. After I think I beat Lindsay in the finals. And the next tournament was in Canada. And I always told myself if I ever make it to number 1, I'm going to buy my own diamond earrings for the first time. I didn't tell anybody. So how old was I? 20. Like I think my dad was still doing my finances, and so I went to Tiffany's and in Canada and bought diamond earrings. And literally a couple of hours later, I get this phone call from my dad. He's like, "What's going on? What are you doing?" and he's like, "What's like?" I think he was worried that like I made some money and I'm spending it on all this crazy, and this is going to be a weekly thing. And I was like, Dad, I've always wanted to have my own diamond earrings and that are real and not Swarovski and, like stuff like that. So
none of the fake stuff. No lab grown for Kim Clijsters.
So I bought, that was kind of my first big buy when I became number 1. And it was, and he kind of put me in not in my place, but he kind of was like telling me like, listen, this is not like something that needs to happen often, right? Like, he's like, but you've deserved it, for this one. So that was a fun, like Canada memory. Being named as the number 1 when you walked out on court, like that was for me, that happened in Canada, which was very, very special. And then beating Justine after having lost to her in 3 Grand Slam finals prior, like it felt really, really good to be able to beat her in the final. It wasn't in a slam, but I think it really helped my confidence too. Playing good tennis and taking that with me to part of the preparation to the US Open in 2005, where I ended up winning my first Grand Slam. So definitely helped and felt like I had really good preparation leading up to my 2005 first slam win.
That is so cool. What a story.
I never wanted to jinx it either. Like I felt like if I started doing crazy spending, I would jinx. I don't know. Like it was weird. I was weird in my head like that. Like for the longest time, I wanted to have this bag. And it was like, I loved, like, I've always been a
money?
bag person.
Oh.
No, a handbag.
A literal bag.
A
Not
handbag,
like you wanted
Blair.
to secure the bag.
No.
Okay.
No, a bag. And it actually
Okay.
started in New Haven. I got this beautiful leather bag, and I think it was, what do you call it? Dooney and Burke?
Dooney and Burke. Yeah.
Dooney and Burke. That was like a gift in the hotel room, and I just fell in love with it. Like, and there was this bag over the years. It was a black Celine bag, and I always looked at it and I was like, all right, if I win this tournament, I'm gonna go buy it. Like, I'm gonna treat myself. And then every day, like, if I won, I was like, I can't do it. Like, I'm gonna wait. And then I stopped playing, and I never bought the bag. And then my husband ended up buying it. So, he got it for me as a surprise, and so it was nice. Yeah, but So I always felt like I was like jinxing something, or it would bring bad luck if I would spend
Like
some money
splurged.
on things like that. Like, where, did I need it? No. The bag, but I did like it.
I love that you brought this up, Kim, because I wanted to ask you about this week as I was watching Jannik Sinner. There was a video of him getting into his, I'm sure, limited edition Ferrari blah blah blah. It looked very
with
fancy.
The yellow line.
Yes, in Monaco, and it made me want to ask you if you ever treated yourself. So, he gets a Ferrari and you get a purse, and that's the difference between you and Jannik Sinner. Oh my goodness. But Jannik, I would say, also deserves it. So enjoy that Ferrari, Jannik.
Yeah.
Kim, before we go, do you have a recommendation for us this week?
I do. I have a supplement. I'm still on the road, and I've been taking Magnesium Bisglycinate for the last.
To help you sleep?
In general. Like, I feel like it helps with a few things, and just in general, like overall, like just feeling a little bit not happier, but just a little lighter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just so Magnesium Bisglycinate. This one is a Belgian company, but just feel like I'm sleeping better at night, and it's been a little rough with the changes of location in the last 2 months. But I do feel like when I take the supplement, that I'm definitely sleeping through the night better.
Nice.
Where sometimes it can be a little interrupted. So,
is it a pill or a powder?
This is a pill.
Okay. And you take it before bed?
I take it before bed with some water, and working pretty good for me.
Nice. Love that for you.
I don't know. Are we allowed to put supplements and promote them, or?
I mean, I think with the disclaimer that we are not medical professionals. No. If you've made it this far, you already know that about us. That we are clearly not medical professionals. Do not try this at home. We are not making official recommendations. This is just what has worked for us. And my recommendation today is on the other end of the spectrum. It's for the tennis nerds out there. I mentioned earlier in the pod how I went and was looking at some of the transcripts from this week in DC. That is something that any tennis fan can do. At most tournaments throughout the year, they're oftentimes transcribed by the same company, ASAP Sports. So if you just search ASAP Sports, you can click into the tennis transcripts, choose the year. So they also have archives. If you wanted to go back, I should go back and see if I can find some old Kim Clijsters transcripts.
Oh boy.
But you can click the year and then click the event. There's maybe a 1 or 2 day delay, but for the most part, you can go read what happened in the press room. And that is something I am much more likely to do, Kim. I don't know about you, than go on YouTube. Like, the US Open will post, and the US Open is a little bit different, but they're going to post videos. DC posted videos from their press room, but I am not going to go sift through YouTube. I would rather just read the thing. And it's just really helpful as I prepare for Cincinnati to look at some of those transcripts and see what the players are saying in their first tournament after Wimbledon. So that is something available to you at home, the tennis fan. So there you go.
ASAP Sports, really good. Mm-hmm. Listen, I love getting a transcript. I loved it when I was playing, and I like it now. So
Detective Kim is going to be sifting through the latest.
Well, especially if they were like, if I saw my name like highlighted in it, you know, like just to see, you know, sometimes they would ask like, hey, so what is your approach? What do you think of like it was just nice to kind of get into their head a little bit, you know?
I support you.
Thanks, Blair. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anything else, Kim, before we sign off?
I'll prepare the question a little bit for next week about the media. And
great.
Then we'll go from there.
Well, it has been a delight per usual. Thank you all so much for joining us. And just everyone who sends messages every week with comments and anyone who comments reviews, we appreciate you guys and we want this to become a community. So ask us your questions, give us your feedback. We want all the things. Make sure you're following us though. That would be helpful first at Love All Podcast on all the platforms. Like, review, subscribe. We would love it. And we will see you back next Wednesday.